Mr. Cole, the private entrance is around the back. The security guard kept his hand on the rope as if I were someone who had wandered into the wrong building. I stared at him for a moment, then glanced through the glass doors. Beyond them, hundreds of guests moved beneath golden chandeliers. Executives in black suits, investors holding champagne, cameras flashing near the stage. And somewhere inside that glittering room was my wife, Evelyn Hart, CEO of Hartwell Technologies. My wife for 2 years. Yet tonight, just like every other company event, I was not allowed to enter beside her. "It's fine," I murmured. I turned toward the private entrance. My fingers brushed the wedding ring in my pocket. I had stopped wearing it around Hartwell employees months ago. Not because I wanted to, because Evelyn once looked at it during a company dinner and quietly told me, "Nathan, please." Not here. That sentence had stayed with me. Not here. Not at work. Not around investors. Not around employees. Not where anyone important could see. I had spent 2 years accepting those words because I loved her. Tonight, I finally wondered whether love had simply made me stupid. The private entrance led me into a narrow hallway behind the ballroom. I walked through it alone, holding my invitation while employees rushed past me with trays and folders. Nobody recognized me as Evelyn's husband. Some probably knew me only as Nathan Cole, an outside consultant who occasionally helped Hartwell with strategy. That was the role Evelyn had created for me. Consultant, not husband. Never husband. I entered the ballroom and found a quiet place near the back. From there, I could see Evelyn standing beneath the stage lights. She looked perfect. Her black evening gown was simple but expensive, her dark hair pinned neatly behind one ear, and her expression carried the same calm authority that had made her one of the youngest CEOs in the city. Then she lifted her champagne glass. "To Hartwell's future," she announced. Applause rolled through the room. I watched her smile. "My success comes from one thing," she continued. "I have always believed that personal emotions should never interfere with professional decisions." My smile disappeared. Someone beside me whispered, "That's why Evelyn is different." I lowered my eyes. Personal emotions. She had chosen those words carefully. She always did. A year ago, I had asked why she never told anyone about our marriage. We were sitting at home then, eating dinner across from each other. She had barely touched her food. "If the board knows I'm married, they'll start questioning my decisions." "They'll question your marriage?" "They'll question me." I remembered staring at her. "And I make you look weak?" Her fork had stopped halfway to her plate. "That isn't what I mean." But it was what I heard. Tonight, standing alone at the back of her company gala, I finally understood something. She hadn't hidden our marriage to protect me. She had hidden me to protect herself. The applause faded. Evelyn stepped away from the microphone. A waiter passed with champagne. I took a glass, mostly because my hands needed something to hold. Then Evelyn saw me. Only for a second. Her eyes met mine across the room. There was no warmth, no smile, just a warning. "Please don't come near me." I understood immediately. I always did. So I stayed where I was. That was when a familiar voice came from behind me. "You're Nathan Cole." I turned. A woman stood there wearing a dark red dress, her confident smile completely out of place among the nervous executives around her. Claire Bennett, Evelyn's biggest rival. I had seen her face in business magazines. She owned Bennett Dynamics, a company that had beaten Hartwell for 3 major contracts that year. "You know me? I know more than your name." Her eyes moved briefly toward my left hand, then toward the stage, then back to me. My stomach tightened. "What exactly do you know?" Claire took a slow sip of champagne. "That you're the man Evelyn Hart married 2 years ago." The glass nearly slipped from my hand. I stared at her. She didn't look surprised by my reaction. "You should be careful," I whispered. "Why?" "Because nobody here knows that." Claire's smile faded. "That," she replied softly, "is exactly what bothers me." Before I could respond, the host announced a special presentation. Everyone turned toward the stage. Evelyn stepped back beside the podium. Claire walked past me. I caught her wrist. "Don't." She looked down at my hand, then into my eyes. "You still want to protect her?" I released her. Claire walked onto the stage. A few executives immediately recognized her. Whispers spread through the room. Evelyn's expression hardened. Claire Bennett, she greeted coldly. Claire smiled. Evelyn. The tension between them was almost physical. Claire took the microphone. I wasn't planning to make this evening personal. Evelyn's fingers tightened around her champagne glass. Then don't. Claire ignored the warning. Her eyes moved through the crowd. Then they stopped on me. I'd like to congratulate Evelyn Hart on her remarkable success. Polite applause followed. Claire waited. And I'd also like to congratulate her husband. The room died. I stopped breathing. Hundreds of faces turned toward me. Evelyn froze beside the podium. Someone dropped a glass. It shattered across the marble floor. I could hear my own heartbeat. Claire's eyes remained on mine. Then she smiled at Evelyn. Unless you want me to explain how I know. The moment the apartment door slammed behind us, Evelyn turned on me. Tell me you're going to fix this. I stood beside the entryway, still wearing the suit from the gala. Fix what? Her eyes flashed. Claire. She didn't create the problem. She exposed it. I stared at her. No. She exposed the truth. Evelyn walked past me, dropped her clutch onto the table, and began pulling pins from her hair. You don't understand what she just did. I understand perfectly. She said we were married in front of half my board. And her hands stopped. And now they'll question everything. I almost laughed. Everything. Yes. Your company? My leadership. Your judgment. She looked away. And your husband? That hit harder than I expected. Evelyn's jaw tightened. Nathan. No. Say it. She remained silent. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my wedding ring. The same ring she had once asked me not to wear. I placed it gently on the table. You want me to deny we're married? Her eyes dropped to the ring. It would only be temporary. I shook my head. You've been temporary with me for 2 years. Her expression cracked. That isn't fair. Neither was standing in the back of your ballroom while you talked about how personal emotions should never interfere with your success. I was talking about business. You always are. She stepped closer. I was trying to protect us. No. My voice came out quieter than I expected. You were trying to protect the version of yourself that doesn't need me. She stopped. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen. Claire. Of course. She answered. Why are you calling? Claire's voice came through clearly enough for me to hear. Because Nathan deserves to know why I recognized him. Evelyn's eyes immediately moved toward me. Don't involve him. A pause. Then Claire replied. You already did. The call ended. Evelyn lowered the phone. What does she mean? I don't know. You're going to meet her. It wasn't a question. I looked at my wedding ring on the table. Then back at Evelyn. I am. Her face tightened. Nathan, don't. You've spent 2 years telling me what I can and cannot say about our marriage. I picked up my jacket. Tonight, I'm going to hear the truth from someone who isn't afraid to say it. An hour later, I sat across from Claire in a quiet private room at a small hotel. She had changed out of her gala dress and wore a simple black blazer. She placed a coffee in front of me. You look like you haven't slept. I haven't. You've been married to Evelyn for 2 years. Yes. And she never told anyone. Not anyone important. Claire leaned back. I knew because of you. I frowned. What does that mean? 3 years ago, Bennett Dynamics nearly collapsed. I remembered. That period had been before Evelyn and I married. Claire continued. Our debt was growing. 2 major clients were leaving. My board wanted me out. You survived. Because someone sent me a recovery plan. My stomach tightened. What kind of plan? A very good one. She opened her phone and showed me an old document. I recognized the structure immediately. The numbers, the strategy, even the small notes in the margin. I had written those. You were the consultant. I stared at her. But you never knew my name. You worked through an agency. I wanted to stay anonymous. Claire nodded. I remember asking who had created the plan. Nobody told me. She smiled faintly. 6 months later, I found out. I leaned forward. How? Your signature was on an old consulting agreement. My stomach dropped. That doesn't explain Evelyn. It does when I saw you wearing the same wedding ring at a private charity dinner. I looked down at my bare hand. You've known this whole time? I suspected. Claire closed the phone. Tonight confirmed it. I sat back. Why didn't you expose us before? Because I don't care about destroying marriages. Her expression hardened. I care about destroying companies that cheat. That word stayed with me. Cheat. She pulled another document from her bag. This is where your marriage becomes my business. I opened it. The first page contained Hartwell's recent expansion strategy. I recognized several recommendations. Not just similar, exactly the same. My stomach turned. Where did you get this? Your wife presented these strategies to her board last year. I kept reading. A pricing adjustment I had suggested over dinner. A supplier restructuring I had written on a napkin. A market entry plan I had spent 3 nights developing while Evelyn slept beside me. All of it was there, but my name was nowhere. Claire watched my face. She presented them as her own. I closed the folder. She knew I helped her. Did she? I didn't answer. Claire's next words were quieter. Maybe she didn't. I looked up. What? There is someone else. Who? Daniel Brooks. Evelyn's CFO. The man she trusted with almost everything. Claire slid another page toward me. He has been feeding Evelyn financial projections for more than a year. I scanned the numbers. Something felt wrong. Those projections are impossible. Exactly. Then why would she trust them? Because they make her believe she is winning. I leaned back. Suddenly, countless moments from my marriage returned. Evelyn dismissing my concerns. Daniel praising her decisions. My advice disappearing into company presentations. Her success growing while my role became smaller. Maybe I hadn't been invisible because I was useless. Maybe someone had needed me invisible. My phone rang. Evelyn. I answered. Nathan. Her voice was different. Not angry. Afraid. Where are you? With Claire. A long pause. Then, I need you to come home. Why? I found something. What? I opened the old strategy files. Her breathing shook. They contain your handwriting. I closed my eyes. What did you find? I don't know. Another pause. That's why I'm asking you to come back. I looked at Claire. She had gone completely still. Evelyn. Yes. If I come back, are you going to ask me to protect you again? Silence. No. It was the first honest answer I'd heard from her in a long time. I ended the call. Claire reached beneath the table and pulled out a thick folder. She pushed it toward me. This is why I called you. I opened it. Financial transfers. Internal emails. Altered reports. My name appeared repeatedly across the pages. I felt the room grow colder. Claire leaned closer. Someone inside Hartwell has been preparing to destroy Evelyn. My eyes stopped on a document bearing my signature. And they've already built the case around you. The first thing I did the next morning was stop answering Evelyn's calls. Not because I hated her, because I knew myself. If I heard her frightened voice, I would run back. I had spent 2 years doing exactly that. Whenever her company had a problem, I solved it. Whenever she doubted a decision, I stayed awake until I found another answer. Whenever she pushed me away, I convinced myself she was only afraid. This time I put my phone face down. Marcus watched me from across his kitchen table. You're really not going back? I shook my head. I don't know. That isn't what I asked. I looked at the documents spread between us. I want to help her. I know. But I don't want to disappear again. Marcus leaned back. Then don't. Those 2 words were simple. They still hurt. I picked up the financial records Claire had given me. I'm going to investigate Daniel. Marcus nodded. And Evelyn? I'll deal with her when I have to. That sounds like progress. I almost smiled. It doesn't feel like it. 3 hours later, I was sitting inside a rented office with 3 monitors open in front of me. Bank transfers, supplier contracts, acquisition reports. Every number led somewhere. And almost every trail eventually touched Daniel Brooks. I opened one transfer. A shell company had received $8 million from Hartwell. Then another company received $6 million. Both companies had the same registered legal advisor. I searched the advisor's name. Daniel's brother. My fingers stopped moving. No. I opened the next file. Another transfer. Another shell company. Another connection. Daniel hadn't made one mistake. He had built a system. Then I found something worse. Evelyn's digital approval appeared on several transactions. My stomach tightened. She had signed them. Not blindly. She had reviewed them. I called Claire. She answered immediately. You found something? Evelyn approved the transfers. A pause. That changes things. It does. Are you going to confront her? I stared at the screen. I don't know. Then don't. Why? Because if Daniel knows you're investigating, he'll move faster. I leaned back. I need access to the original records. I can get you access. You're helping me? I offered you a job yesterday. I blinked. You were serious? Very. I looked around the small office. For 2 years, my career had been tied to Evelyn's shadow. Maybe it was time to step outside it. What position? Strategic Recovery Director. I almost laughed. That sounds expensive. It is. What if I fail? Claire's voice softened. Then fail somewhere nobody can call you Evelyn Hart's husband. The words hit me harder than she probably intended. I'll take it. Across the city, Evelyn was having a very different morning. I knew because Grace called me. She sounded nervous. Nathan? Yes. I need to tell you something. What? I think Daniel knows you're investigating. My body went still. How? I don't know. Grace, tell me everything. She hesitated. I saw him deleting files last night. Where? His office. Did you see what they were? No. Then why call me? Because I saw your name. My hand tightened around the phone. Where? On his screen. The call ended when someone entered her office. I immediately stood. Claire's voice came from behind me. Don't go there. I turned. I need to know what she saw. You need to stay alive long enough to prove it. I hated that she was right. That afternoon, Hartwell's stock dropped sharply. The acquisition Daniel had pushed for began collapsing. Investors demanded answers. Reporters gathered outside the building. The board scheduled an emergency meeting. Evelyn called me 6 times. I ignored every call. Then a message appeared. Please come home. I need you. I stared at it. Once, those words would have been enough. I typed a response. You need answers. Not me. Then I deleted it. I wrote something else. I'll help if the evidence proves you're innocent. I sent it. Her reply came less than a minute later. And if it doesn't? I didn't answer. That evening, I went to Hartwell. Not as Evelyn's husband. Not as her secret consultant. I entered through the main doors. Employees looked at me differently. Whispers followed me. I kept walking. Evelyn was waiting outside the boardroom. Her face looked exhausted. You came. I said I would investigate. She stepped closer. You haven't answered my calls. I was working. On my company? On the truth. Her eyes lowered. You're different. I almost smiled. No. I'm finally listening to myself. She swallowed. I was wrong about you. That isn't enough. I know. Her voice broke slightly. I don't know how to fix this. Start by telling me what you signed. She looked toward the boardroom. Everything Daniel put in front of me. Even the acquisition? Yes. You trusted him. Yes. More than me. Her eyes met mine. I thought you wanted me to succeed. I did. I thought Daniel understood business. He understood you. She flinched. Before she could answer, the boardroom doors opened. The meeting had begun. Evelyn walked inside. I stayed behind. Then Grace appeared at the end of the hallway. She looked terrified. Nathan. I followed her into a small security office. She locked the door. I found something. She inserted a drive. The monitor flickered. Security footage appeared. Daniel stood inside the records room. He looked around. Then he opened a file. I watched him remove several pages. He replaced them with different ones. Then he signed into Evelyn's computer. Grace paused the footage. Look. I moved closer. Daniel wasn't just changing reports. He was altering documents before Evelyn ever saw them. Then another clip appeared. Daniel placed a file on Evelyn's desk. The timestamp showed it was minutes before she signed the acquisition papers. I stared at the screen. My phone buzzed. A message from Claire. We found the final transfer. I opened the attachment. The money trail ended at a private account. Daniel's account. But beneath the transfer was another document. My name. My consulting signature. A plan dated months before Daniel's first fraudulent transaction. I stared at it. Then I understood. Daniel hadn't simply framed me after the scandal began. He had planned for me to become the perfect scapegoat from the beginning. Grace whispered, "Why would he do this?" I looked at the screen. Because he knew Evelyn. He knew her pride. He knew she would trust official documents over her husband. And most importantly, he knew something I had spent 2 years proving true. I would always protect my wife, even if protecting her destroyed me. The boardroom doors closed behind me. Every person at the table turned toward me. Daniel stood beside the screen, holding a stack of documents. His expression was calm. Too calm. Evelyn sat at the head of the table, pale and exhausted. The chairman cleared his throat. "Nathan, this meeting is confidential." "I know." Daniel placed a document on the table. "Then you also know you have no official position here." I pulled out a chair. "I know that too." His smile disappeared. The chairman looked between us. "Mr. Brooks has presented evidence suggesting Evelyn knowingly approved several fraudulent transactions." Evelyn's fingers tightened around the edge of the table. "I approved what I was given." Daniel immediately stepped forward. "And who prepared many of those recommendations?" His eyes settled on me. "Nathan Cole." Every face turned. I didn't move. Daniel opened another folder. Mr. Cole had access to confidential financial information. He created strategies that were later implemented by Hartwell. He also had a personal relationship with the CEO. Someone whispered, "Her husband." The word traveled around the table. Daniel's voice became colder. "Exactly." Evelyn looked at me. I could see the fear in her eyes. Not fear of losing the company. Fear that I would finally tell them everything. The chairman leaned forward. "Mr. Cole, is it true that you provided strategic recommendations to Evelyn?" "Yes." "Were you paid?" "No." Daniel smiled. "That seems convenient." I placed my hands on the table. "I didn't need her money." "Then what did you want?" I looked at Evelyn. "Her success." Her eyes dropped. Daniel quickly interrupted. "And that success gave you access to millions of dollars." I shook my head. "You're missing something." "What?" "You expected me to defend myself emotionally." Daniel's smile faded. "I brought evidence." "So did I." The room became still. I opened my laptop. The first file appeared on the screen. Bank transfers. Shell companies. Dates. Account numbers. Daniel's face changed. "These are incomplete." Claire walked through the door. She carried a folder beneath one arm. "They're not." The chairman recognized her immediately. "Ms. Bennett." Claire placed several original contracts on the table. "These are the documents before Daniel altered them." Daniel stepped forward. "You have no authority to be here." "I don't need authority to show evidence." I opened the first contract. Then the second. The numbers were different. The recommendations had been changed. The signatures had been copied. Daniel's breathing became heavier. Evelyn stared at the documents. "I signed that." "You signed the altered version." Her eyes moved toward Daniel. "You told me those were the originals." Daniel's confidence finally cracked. "I didn't know what happened to the files." Grace entered behind Claire. Her hands were shaking. "I do." She connected a drive to the screen. Security footage appeared. Daniel entering the records room. Daniel removing pages. Daniel replacing them. Daniel accessing Evelyn's computer. Nobody spoke. The footage continued. Daniel looked directly into the security camera before leaving. The chairman slowly stood. "Daniel." Daniel turned. "You're misunderstanding what happened." Grace's voice trembled. "I watched you change the documents." Daniel looked at her. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I saved the recordings." His face went blank. Evelyn stood. "Why?" Daniel didn't answer. She stepped closer. "Why did you do this?" His silence was answer enough. Then he turned toward me. "This is his fault." I stared at him. "What? You think he was helping you?" Daniel pointed at me. "He manipulated you from the beginning." Evelyn looked confused. Daniel rushed on. "He gave you strategies. He influenced your decisions. He knew every weakness in this company." I opened another file. "Keep going." Daniel stopped. I displayed a timeline. Every fraudulent transaction. Every altered document. Every payment to the shell companies. Every connection leading back to him. Then I opened the final record. his private account, his money, his signature. The room erupted in whispers. Daniel stepped backward. You can't prove. I already did. I looked at the chairman. The only thing left is why he used my name. The answer appeared on the screen. A private note recovered from Daniel's deleted files. Evelyn will always protect the company. Nathan will always protect Evelyn. Use both against each other. Evelyn read it. Her face collapsed. Daniel had understood her better than she understood herself. I closed the laptop. The chairman turned toward security. Call the authorities. Daniel started shouting. You can't do this. Nobody listened. Security officers entered. Daniel looked at Evelyn one last time. You'll lose everything without me. She didn't respond. The doors closed behind him. For several seconds, nobody moved. Then the chairman faced me. Mr. Cole, you saved this company. I shook my head. No. I looked at Evelyn. She saved herself by finally listening. The chairman frowned. You understand that your involvement will become public? Yes. You could lose clients. Yes. You could damage your consulting career. I looked at the wedding ring resting in my pocket. I know. Evelyn finally spoke. Why would you risk that? I met her eyes. Because I won't become another Daniel. Her expression changed. I could see the question she was afraid to ask. The board slowly left the room. Claire followed them. Grace gave me a small nod before disappearing through the doors. Soon, only Evelyn and I remained. She walked toward me. You could have destroyed me. I know. You had every reason. I did. Her eyes filled, but she didn't cry. I hid you because I was afraid. I waited. If people knew I was married, they would think I depended on you. My jaw tightened. So you made me invisible. Yes. You were ashamed of needing me. She closed her eyes. I was ashamed of needing anyone. I shook my head. Being ashamed of needing someone isn't the same as loving them. Her lips trembled. I know. No, Evelyn. You know now. She looked down. I hurt you. Yes. I can't undo it. No. Her hand slowly moved toward her company badge. She unclipped it. Then she placed it in my palm. I don't know what happens tomorrow. I looked at the badge. But tonight. She stepped closer. Tonight, I lost the company I thought I had to protect. Her voice became barely audible. And I realized the person I was most afraid to lose was the one I kept pushing away. I couldn't answer. She reached for my hand. I didn't pull away. Her fingers closed around mine. If I lose everything tonight, she whispered, will you still be my husband? 3 months after Daniel's arrest, my life looked nothing like the one I had left behind. My consulting company had a real office. A small one, but mine. Claire had become my biggest client, and surprisingly, one of my closest friends. She never treated me like Evelyn's husband. She treated me like Nathan Cole. That difference mattered more than I expected. Hartwell survived too. Evelyn rebuilt the company from the ground up. No Daniel. No hidden accounts. No secret deals. And no more hiding me. The first time I saw her introduce me publicly, I almost didn't recognize her. We were attending a business conference downtown. A reporter approached her. Ms. Hart, is this your business partner? Evelyn looked at me. Then she smiled. My husband. 2 words. Nothing dramatic. No announcement. No explanation. But I felt them somewhere deep inside me. She wore her wedding ring too. Not in her purse. Not inside a drawer. On her hand, where everyone could see it. Still, I didn't go back. That was the part Evelyn struggled to understand. One evening, she stood outside my office holding a paper bag. Dinner. I glanced at the bag. You cooked? No. That almost made me smile. Then what is it? The restaurant you used to like. I looked back at my laptop. You remember? I remember everything now. She sat across from me. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then she reached into the bag and placed a small box on my desk. Inside was my old apartment key. You left it. I thought you changed the locks. I did. I looked at her. Then why give it back? Because I don't want to decide where you belong anymore. That answer stayed with me. Later that week, Evelyn invited me to our old apartment. I almost refused, but I went. The place looked different. Cleaner. Quieter. My old closet was still empty. She had never filled it. I stood there for a long moment. You kept it. I couldn't touch it. Why? Her eyes moved toward the empty shelves. Because every time I saw them, I remembered what I had done. I walked toward the bedroom. The old wedding photograph was gone. I had removed it myself months earlier. It was now sitting inside my desk drawer. Evelyn noticed me looking at the empty wall. I didn't replace it. I know. I thought maybe you would. I turned toward her. You wanted me to? No. She took a slow breath. I wanted to earn the right to put it back. That was different. She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She was accepting that she had to earn it. A week later, Evelyn faced another test. One of Hartwell's biggest potential investors demanded that she separate her personal life from the company. He didn't want me attending meetings. He didn't want my name connected to Hartwell. He told her the company would receive funding only if she returned to being the independent Evelyn Hart. She refused. I learned about it from Claire. She turned down $40 million. I stared at her. Because of me? Because of herself. That answer mattered. I called Evelyn that night. You didn't have to do that. I know. You could have taken the investment. I could have. Then why didn't you? Her voice was calm. Because I've already built a life around pretending I don't need anyone. She paused. I won't do that again. I closed my eyes. You're changing. I hope so. No. I looked out at the city lights. You are. For the first time, she didn't try to argue. Weeks passed. She kept showing up. Not dramatically. Not with flowers every morning. Not with endless apologies. She remembered my meetings. She asked about my work. She respected my decisions. She never entered my office without knocking. And whenever someone introduced me as her husband, she never corrected them. One Friday evening, she came to my office. No assistant. No security. No business folder. Just her. She stood near my desk. I need to ask you something. I closed my laptop. Go ahead. Would you ever consider starting over? I looked at her. Starting over? Not repairing the old marriage. Her fingers moved nervously. Building a new one. I didn't answer. She continued. I know I can't ask you to forget. You can't. I know I can't erase what I did. You can't. And I know loving you now doesn't excuse not loving you properly before. My throat tightened. She stepped closer. I don't want the husband I had. I raised an eyebrow. I want Nathan. The room became very quiet. I reached into my desk drawer. I pulled out the old wedding photograph. Evelyn stared at it. You kept it. I couldn't throw it away. I placed it beside the new business partnership contract Claire and I had signed that morning. The old photograph. The new life. Two things that had nothing to do with each other, and somehow everything to do with my choice. Evelyn's eyes filled. Are you saying yes? I looked at the photograph, then at her. I won't return to the marriage we had. She nodded slowly. I understand, but her eyes lifted. I'll build a different marriage with you. She covered her mouth for a second, then lowered her hand. No crying, no dramatic promises, just a small, trembling smile. Different sounds good. I picked up my wedding ring. For months it had stayed inside my drawer. I had carried it through pain, anger, and uncertainty. Now I slid it onto my finger. Evelyn stared at it. Then she offered her hand. I took it. The next morning, we attended a Hartwell event together. Hundreds of employees filled the hall. Claire stood near the stage. Grace was there too. Evelyn walked beside me. No private entrance. No distance. No careful instructions. An employee approached. Mr. Cole, are you joining the CEO? Evelyn smiled before I could answer. He's not joining me. She slipped her fingers through mine. He's my husband. The employee smiled and walked away. I looked at Evelyn. She looked nervous. Still sure. She squeezed my hand. More than ever. We walked into the room together. People watched. Whispers followed. Cameras flashed. Evelyn didn't let go. And neither did I. Because I finally understood something. Love was never supposed to make me smaller. Marriage was never supposed to make me invisible. And forgiveness was never supposed to mean forgetting who I had become. I didn't need revenge anymore. I didn't need to punish Evelyn. I didn't need her to suffer so I could feel whole. I had already found something better. My own name. My own life. My own worth. And beside me was a woman who had finally learned that loving someone meant choosing them openly. For the first time, Evelyn reached for my hand in front of everyone. And this time, when people started watching, she didn't let go.